On Friday, August 7th, the U.S. government released a report that should have wrecked the stock market. The economy didn't just miss expectations, it shed 23,000 jobs in a single month. Economists were expecting 83,000 new jobs. Instead, America lost jobs it already had. And then the report got worse. The 2 months before it, the ones everyone thought were fine, got quietly rewritten. May's job gains got cut by 66,000. June's got cut by 37,000. That's over 100,000 jobs that were reported, celebrated, and then quietly taken back. So here's the picture. A labor market that's shrinking, wage growth that can barely keep up with prices, and an unemployment rate that actually went down. Not because more people got hired, but because 260,000 people simply stopped looking for work. When you stop looking, the government stops counting you as unemployed. That same Friday afternoon, the S&P 500 closed at an all-time high. Not a small bump, a record, the 25th record close of the year. The Nasdaq jumped 1.3%. Even small companies, the ones that usually get crushed first in a weak economy, rallied over 1%. This is the story of why the stock market and your paycheck live in two completely different economies. And once you understand the mechanism connecting them, you'll never read a market's rally headline the same way again. Here's the part nobody explains to you in school. The stock market doesn't actually care if people have jobs. It cares about one thing: where interest rates are headed next. When the job market weakens, investors start betting the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates to stop things from getting worse. Lower rates mean cheaper borrowing. Cheaper borrowing means companies can expand for less, buy back more of their own stock, and post better numbers on paper. Lower rates also make future company profits worth more today, because money in the future is discounted less when rates are low. So a bad jobs report doesn't scare investors, it excites them, because bad news for workers is a signal of good news for rates, and good news for rates is good news for anyone holding stocks. Wall Street even has a name for this pattern. Bad news is good news. This isn't new. Trace it back and you land on 1987. After that year's crash, the Federal Reserve chairman at the time flooded the financial system with cheap money to stop the bleeding. Investors noticed, and they never forgot it. From that point on, every time the stock market got shaky, the assumption was simple: the Fed will show up. It became known, half-jokingly, as the Fed put, a kind of insurance policy for people who own stocks, paid for by nobody but backed by decades of central bank behavior. Greenspan started it. Bernanke, Yellen, and Powell all renewed it in their own crises. That's the mechanism. Weak economy, expected rate cuts, rising stock prices, all while the people who actually lost their jobs get nothing out of the rally. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Who actually owns the thing that just hit a record high? According to the Federal Reserve's own numbers, the wealthiest 1% of Americans hold about 50% of all stocks in the country, roughly $27.6 trillion worth. The top 10% control 87% of all household wealth. The bottom 90% of the country, everyone else, is left splitting just 13%. So when the market celebrates a jobs report where real people got laid off, it's celebrating almost entirely on behalf of a small slice of the population that was never going to feel the layoffs in the first place. Most middle-class wealth isn't sitting in the stock market, it's sitting in a house, or it's not sitting anywhere at all because rent and debt are eating the paycheck before savings even start. Meanwhile, wages for the people who are still employed grew just 3.2% over the past year. Inflation, even when it cools, tends to eat most of that. So the quiet reality is this: a record-breaking stock market and a shrinking job market can exist in the exact same headline, on the exact same day, because they were never measuring the same thing. Now, none of this means the stock market is rigged in some secret, conspiratorial sense. It's not a plot. It's a mechanical relationship that's existed for decades, driven by interest rate expectations, and it's public information available to anyone who wants to look. Nobody is hiding this. The problem isn't that it's secret. The problem is that almost nobody explains it. So when people see stocks hit records the same week they hear about layoffs, it feels irrational, when really, it's just a system working exactly as designed. It's also worth saying this pattern doesn't last forever. History shows that when bad economic news crosses a certain line, when a slowdown starts looking like an actual recession, bad news is good news flips. At that point, investors stop caring about rate cuts and start caring about survival. The rally you saw this week only works because the market still believes the damage is controlled. So the next time you see a headline that says its stocks hit a record high, and right underneath it, another headline says thousands of people lost their jobs, you'll know exactly what's happening. It's not two contradictory stories. It's the same story, told from two different bank accounts.